Yo, what's up everybody? Jumping here. Today I wanted to talk about the most overpowered weapon in Destiny 2 right now. And I think that pretty much everybody agrees with this. There's already like 1,000 videos on YouTube of people talking about it and showing it off. And that is, of course, the Untitled Shotgun. This is from Escalation Protocol, and this thing is a beast. Anytime you get a melee hit, you're going to get 50% more damage, more accuracy, more handling. It's amazing. Now, I didn't actually want to make a video talking about this shotgun because everybody already knows about it. But what I did want to make a video about is what are the builds that you can use that have perfect synergy with this shotgun. So I'm going to be showing 3 builds in this video. One for the Titan, one for the Warlock, and one for the Hunter to show you how to have perfect synergy and how to have the most fun using this shotgun. Because if you can actually get this thing, you should actually use it in strikes, in the raid, in public events, just because it is a blast to run around and actually just destroy enemies with this shotgun. So, let's go ahead and get started with this. Now, the first class that I'm going to show is the Sunbreaker Titan. In my personal opinion, this is absolutely the best class for this shotgun. It has the most synergy. Back in Curse of Osiris days, one of my friends, Arcus here, started actually using this build, and he convinced me to try it out. Ever since then, I haven't turned back. I've loved it. I actually made a video called How to Kill Strike Bosses in Seconds, and I actually showed off this build because it was a very important member of that team. And this build is just amazing, and it has perfect synergy with the Untitled Shotgun. Now, the main thing about this build is actually its melee, Hammer Strike, which is really just Melting Point. Whenever you actually use this, you're going to melee the enemy, so that will trigger your trench barrel effect with your shotgun, and also it will debuff the enemies. And this will debuff them by like 50%. You get your buff for 50% from the trench barrel, and believe it or not, you actually get 125% more damage when you do that. People have made tests with it, and that's what they determined. But that's really crazy. That is insane. You will just absolutely melt any big enemy or any boss in seconds if you actually combine the two together. Now, the top tree in general is amazing. I absolutely love the top tree for the Sunbreaker. The super, in my opinion, is just way better. It will actually do really good damage to bosses. It will just wipe out every mob in front of you. I love it. Now, for the grenade, I really like the Thermite grenade, and I also like the Incinerator grenade. I kind of swap between the two just because a lot of times the Thermite might make me mad because I'm throwing it and I'm just completely missing. Maybe I'm a scrub. I don't know, but it does make me mad at times. So sometimes I'll use the Incinerator grenade, but I do think the Thermite is probably the better grenade. Now, what's really cool about this build is that you can actually use the Rally Barricade. Now, you're not always going to have a Warlock on your team. If you do have a Warlock with the Lunafaction boots, you don't have to worry about this. But if you don't have that Warlock, you can always just throw down a Rally Barricade right next to where a boss is going to spawn. You run around, you do your Hammer Strike, and then you start unloading your shotgun. Crouch one time behind that Rally Barricade, and you reload the shotgun, and now you can just keep firing. And pretty much, most bosses will die instantly if you do that. Now, let's go ahead and talk about the armor and everything you're going to need for this, because this is actually really crazy. These Simpa sets are insane. They actually got buffed, and the buff is just amazing. This is probably my favorite exotic for the Titan right now in the entire game. I choose to use this over the Hollow Fire Heart. The Hollow Fire Heart is really good, especially if you're going to do Escalation Protocol, and maybe you're going to be trying to do a lot of melting points. But if you're not doing that, or you don't care, these things will just absolutely dominate. The melee damage that you get is insane. Now, in PvE, it's a lot easier to trigger the perk, so you're actually going to get the benefit most of the time. You can actually 2 melee a lot of the big enemies in the game with the buff. It's that good. But the super damage that you get is the best part, just because your hammers will just absolutely melt bosses, any type of big enemy, and every mob. You'll wipe out all the mobs with just like one hammer. It's so good. You have to try out these gauntlets. If you haven't tried these out in PvE, I definitely recommend them. It works on every single one of the subclasses, and they are just amazing. Now, let's talk about the mods I have on. So for the gauntlets, I have Increased Armor Resilience. For the helmet, I have Grenades will recharge faster. For the chest piece, I have Solar Melees will recharge faster. Obviously, that's important. For the boots, I have Grenades will recharge faster, but you could actually put on Solar Melee will recharge faster. I would probably recommend that, to be quite honest. And then finally, on the Titan mark, I actually have Grenades will recharge faster. So that is the Sunbreaker setup, and it definitely has the most synergy with the shotgun, in my opinion. I absolutely have a blast playing it. I definitely recommend the gauntlets. It's just amazing. It's one of the best PvE builds in the entire game right now, by far. Now let's go ahead and talk about the Warlock and what you can do to get the most synergy out of this shotgun. Alrighty guys, well this is going to be my Warlock setup, and this has been my main Warlock setup since the Warmind DLC came out and I got this shotgun. I used to use a bunch of different stuff, but now it's like, this has just became the main setup because it's just so good. Now I do want to talk about a gun, and that is the Huckleberry. This thing is amazing. If you haven't tried this out, you should, and if you have tried it out and you didn't like it, you should give it another chance, because if you can get used to this thing, it is a beast, especially with the rampage going. You pretty much have like unlimited ammo if you're using it right. It's super good. Now the main thing with this gun is that it's so good on the Warlock because of Devour. Every time you kill something, you're going to get all your health back and you become pretty much unkillable, and this gun just has really good synergy with Devour. And I would probably recommend a scout rifle as your secondary just for long range. And finally, of course, we're using the Untitled shotgun. Now, because we're using Devour, that means we're using the bottom tree. The bottom tree is great, 100%. I'm not going to talk about it, but it is actually really good. I always like to use the Vortex Grenade, and generally I use the Empowering Rift. Sometimes I might use the Healing Rift, but mainly I just use the Empowering Rift. Now, when it comes to the exotic, obviously, we're using the Lunafaction boots. This is no surprise. These things are amazing. Ever since they gave it the buff, pretty much made Rally Barricades irrelevant. The only time to ever use a Rally Barricade now is when you don't have a Warlock. And if you are playing Warlock and you have these boots and you're not using them, you need to start, because everybody will love you if you do. It is absolutely the best exotic for the Warlock right now. Now let's go ahead and talk about the mods. On the helmet, I have grenades will recharge faster. On the gauntlets, I have grenades will recharge faster. On the chest piece, I have increased kinetic reload speed. On the boots, I have increased armor recovery. And finally, on the Warlock bond, I have grenades will recharge faster. The whole idea behind the whole grenades will recharge faster thing is that pretty much we're going to use that to get Devour going. Or if we lose it, we can just pop it again. And that's the main reason I have that. But with the Huckleberry, it's great, and once you get to a big enemy, the shotgun will just absolutely melt any big enemy. If you go against a boss, you throw down your Rift, and with the Lunafaction boots, you can just unload every single one of your shotgun shells into a boss, and you will absolutely melt any boss in the game if you do that, especially if you and your friends are all doing it at the same time. So now, finally, we're going to talk about the Hunter, because believe it or not, the Hunter actually does have a build that you can use with this shotgun, which is kind of surprising because a lot of people don't really think about it. But there is an exotic that's just really good. It has really good synergy for the Hunter and the Untitled shotgun. Alrighty guys, so this is going to be my Hunter setup, and the exotic that I was actually talking about is the Sealed Armor Kara Gauntlets. These things are actually really good. Whenever you melee an enemy, you will instantly reload your currently equipped weapon. That is perfect for this shotgun. It has complete synergy. Let's say you're fighting a strike boss. You're going to start the fight off by meleeing the boss to get the trench barrel perk. You're going to unload your shotgun into the boss, and by the time that you're done unloading your shotgun, your perk is gone. You melee the boss again to get the perk back, and you instantly reload your shotgun. And you could just keep doing that until the boss is dead. I really love using these gauntlets with this shotgun. I definitely recommend trying it out. There are other really good exotics that you can use for the Hunter, but I do recommend the Arc Strider subclass. Now, of course, you could use the Raiden Flux, but you don't really have to have that because it is really good, don't get me wrong, but the Arc Strider still will wipe out any mobs of enemies super quick. So you don't need the Raiden Flux to do that. And these gauntlets are, of course, just really good for helping you kill bosses super quick. Now, for the tree, I definitely recommend the bottom skill tree just because of the melee. The melee is amazing. If you melee an enemy, it will blind that enemy and everything in its radius. So you can blind like 3 or 4 enemies at a time, and that will just completely neutralize them. You don't have to worry about them, especially something that might be a threat. Melee that threat and then just unload on him because he's not going to fight back. I absolutely love this melee. The grenade I like to use is the Flux Grenade, and of course, use Gambler's Dodge. You don't need to use Marksman's Dodge because anytime you need to reload your gun, just go ahead and melee. That's it. And you can constantly get your melee back by using Gambler's Dodge. So I absolutely love this setup. It's a lot of fun to play, and I definitely recommend it. Now let's talk about the mods. I have on the helmet, increase armor recovery. On the gauntlets, I have class abilities will recharge faster. On the chest piece, I have grenades will recharge faster. On the boots, I have increased armor recovery. And finally, on the hunter cloak, I have grenades will recharge faster. So these are the 3 setups that I personally think have the best synergy with the Aikilo shotgun. You definitely want to try out all of them. Anyway guys, that's going to pretty much do it for the video. I'm not going to show any gameplay just because I know that everybody has probably seen this shotgun. They know what it does. It is a beast, there's no doubt about it. But I really do hope that you have enjoyed this video and that it has helped. If it has, will you please like the video for me? Be sure to subscribe for future videos. And I really do hope that everyone has a very nice day and peace out.